Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi LiveNoding. In this episode, I'm going to share this little Node 3 setup. Basically, I created this using Sverchok add-on, and this is actually for image processing. And this is not like something that I understand completely yet, but I'm exploring a lot of different areas. And basically, I started with this image right here, this unicorn emoji, and this image is only 106 times 164 pixels, so it's rather small. But small picture is good because you can process it really quickly. So from this image, I simply source it into Sverchok, and I turn it into image on the right side here. Um, and let's have a look how I do this. So basically, um, we have this object ID selector, and this thing can access image, and I simply just select my image from here and turn on the pixel. Once you turn on the pixel, it really gonna look into the pixel of this image. So that's actually pretty cool in itself. And the next thing I did was to use a list split to split the pixel RGBA, so red, green, blue, and alpha. And there's all this list shift and shuffle. This is actually I was playing around and trying to shuffle the pixel and shifting it. This is something that you can try yourself, so that's not so important. This one I'm trying to use noise and things like that to try to modify the pixel. But what's really interesting is from here, after I split the pixel data, so it's become RGBA, become a color. This is becoming a little bit more interesting, and I'm using, where's the output? The output. Okay, the output is gonna be this node right here. So if I just plug in the color into that node, I should actually get this guy right here. I need to switch it to RGBA. So there you go. So because it contains the alpha as well, be careful with that. But up here is what's I found kind of interesting. This one currently it seems like a inverted color. Let me try to switch it back to normal. So it's still like kind of grayscale. So what's actually going on? I'll explain in a bit. But this is actually, I'm getting some kind of ways to quantize this pixel color. So it's like a reduced color, and in this example, I'm using vector Lerp. So this is almost like a color ramp. So I can basically create like a two-color artwork based on this image right here. So this is like the RGB, right? And it's lerping, or it's like a color. It's making color ramp or color gradations from between this color and this color, and this actually creates the quantizations. It tells how many color you want it between this color and this color. You kind of creating this artwork. So I found this by accident. Basically, let's try to understand this. I'm actually only using the red value, I believe. So I get the one of this color channel, the red. This guy goes into the map range. I know that the color red in this case is a value between 0 and 1. So I'm remapping it into color between into this color between 0 and maximum of 5, or I can change the color and get more like smoother color. So there's a lot smoother. It looks like pixel art now. So yeah, after I remap it, I'm using the output of the remap into list item, and list item is looking into this color gradations between this color and this color. So it's quite complicated, but it's kind of interesting. And then here I actually use easing. So by default, you can use linear interpolations. And with linear interpolations, you probably get a more predictable result. But you can go into a different curve and get a different result, like more contrast or less contrast, things like that. So that's this guy right here. This is very interesting. And let's move to another one. This guy right here. This is a color with RGBA. So I'm gonna switch to RGBA. Now we get a different kind of a unicorn. And here I'm actually kind of like playing around with the noise. And using the noise, I'm really like scrambling the color and turn it into this kind of really weird kind of psychedelic art. And I found this by accident. And if we increase the noise, like make the noise like really strong, now you start to get this kind of really strange artwork. I'm using really small pixel, but try using like a high resolution image and you can get quite interesting result. So that's this is here right here. I'm basically I'm taking the RGB, turning it into a points, vector points, and then I'm adding vector noise together and then mix them up together. It's kind of like a soup of noise, and then the output goes back into RGB. That's why we get this result. Very strange, right? And there's another one here. This one is slightly different. I'm using the vector turbulence, so it's kind of like noise as well, but the result is a little bit different. Randomize the seed, so it's kind of similar, kind of smoother somehow. So there you go. That's a 3 example of how you can manipulate a pixel color. So I have not looked into how I can kind of scatter the pixel position or things like that. Nothing's too fancy. Here is just a really basic one, I think. And if you're really into this kind of thing, you can try checking OSL, Open Shading Language, in Blender. Outside of Blender, you will also find a lot of OSL example. Basically, you use a lot of functions, math functions, and then you can create a lot of interesting image filter and image processing. And also you want to look at Python, NumPy, SkyPy, or those kind of Python module. You can use it inside Sverchok, and it's really powerful. That's like maybe I will study that at some point, but for now this is what I can do, and still kind of pretty interesting. You can get a lot of interesting result. What is this random from here? Oh, you can actually randomize the color as well, I believe. Oh yeah, there you go. There's a random color plug into this guy, and also we can quantize the number, and then you get this different color. It's really weird, really unusual. You just need to try it yourself and try to understand this part right here. I found this kind of by accident, but so anyhow, that's a quick image pixel color processing using Sverchok add-on in Blender. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think. I'll give you the node tree and the blend. So hopefully you enjoy this one and try exploring it yourself and then see what you can come up with. This is a really interesting area to explore. It's not like a once-off thing. It's not like a once-off tool. It's something you need to try yourself. I'm just gonna take a couple of pictures. And this one is for the pixel. This is how, just simply by using this nodes, we really can use this image. You can also use a movie and then pipe all this and process it in Sverchok and then output it as a as a compositor output, and it's gonna work. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.